Andy, you and Jennifer did a lot of research in preparation for the Dragonfly effect. Could you talk about the theoretical framework that you built the book around?
Sure, Steve. In creating the Dragonfly Effect, we first of all witnessed a lot of different social campaigns and combined that with um, several pieces of academic research that worked. And I brought in sort of my own experience in marketing, and the framework we put together derived from all four of those, or all three of those. And it maps to the dragonfly because it has four wings, and there's some other metaphorical reasons for the dragonfly itself. But the first wing is what we call focus, and it's something that often companies that approach any particular problem seem to lack. They tend to approach too many things at one time, and focus is pretty much simply what it is. It's identifying a simple, clear goal that is actually tied to happiness. Now, in business, sometimes happiness is a loaded term because people don't necessarily think that you're supposed to be happy because it's work. But whether if you're going to do your work well, it's at least going to bring you satisfaction, and that's the kind of happiness we're frequently talking about. So, looking at that, we build a series of design principles that underlie each of these wings. So for focus, it is around this concept of happiness and a sense of measurability. So and you set up a series of metrics that identify whether you're making progress in the right direction. Because one of the aspects of Dragonfly is that the process is highly iterative, and it doesn't assume you know much of anything when you start. In fact, the bias is towards action in general, but action and learning and doing it again. So once you've got a clear and focused goal, and you have observed and set up the metrics and methods by which you know you're pursuing it correctly, you then look at how to grab attention, and that's the second way. The really derives from sort of classic advertising marketing in the sense that no one's paying attention to you when you first start talking to them. So what is it that's going to be the thing that deserves that attention, whether it's for a moment or for longer? You get to determine based on how well you do your attention grab. But in general, you can derive the impact or the effect from a series of things. But in general, they should be, to the degree possible, not logical issues, but more emotional, things that are visual or visceral, that engage the senses and give people a reason to pay attention. We're all familiar with some of the garish and terrible, siren ads or the flashing banner ads, and these are really crude attempts to do it, but they've got the core idea in the right place. You need to find a way that connects with people, and it sometimes excites their sort of fight or flight response in order to get the attention away. But once you've got it there, it's really important that it be consistent with your ultimate message and your ultimate effort. So having a hit the monkey with the hammer kind of banner, if you're selling semiconductors, is probably not just inappropriate, but probably a subject for ridicule. So, but the emphasis there is really on figuring out what's going to make people pay attention and using whatever methods and whatever media you have at your disposal to do it. In Twitter, it's probably going to be more of an attention-getting headline. We know there's a series of headlines that get more clicks than others. There's a lot of science that goes into that. That's essentially attention grabs. On YouTube, it is often about some sort of still image or something that makes people click on it. And the same thing is true whether it's Instagram or Pinterest or something like that. It's going to be deriving from sort of the maximum emotional content for the particular medium you choose. And then once you've gotten someone's attention, you have to make them care. The third wing we refer to as engage, and it represents that. It's essentially built on a concept of storytelling, and that that's how we process facts. We don't actually listen when someone tells us how many miles per gallon a car gets, or how many cup holders there are. We imagine ourselves in it. We tell ourselves a story of being in that car and having it be a different experience. And the people who are effective in doing marketing or in making people adhere to their social cause are telling them a story that connects with them, comes to where they are, understands them, and then creates a line that makes for a motivating story that allows them to see themselves as part of that effort. Um, and I think that the emphasis there is indeed on storytelling, and that stories, are the fundamental way we understand pretty much everything in our world. It's how we understand our friends. It's how we understand our family. It's how we understand ourselves. And yet, we're not necessarily designed to be storytellers. We are designed to be sort of story consumers. If you think about it, especially if you live in an area where you see a lot of movies, you or I or anybody can probably walk into a movie theater, and within 5 minutes, we know whether we should walk out or not. But given the same opportunity to create that movie, we'd be very hard pressed to do the same thing. So we're excellent judges of stories, but we don't necessarily always have the framework to create the stories ourselves. And I think the fundamental tenets of storytelling really relate to, stories are about people. They're about relatable people, and they speak in that person's voice and go through the process of bringing the reader, bringing the viewer into that process, and then somehow putting them through a moment of truth and making people sort of hold their breath a little bit. So that's a good story, and that's what fundamentally causes people to engage. And once you've focused on your goal, grabbed someone's attention, and then made them care, generally they're ready to purchase or register or download or whatever it is that you have been suggesting they do. Now, the fourth wing is sort of where the particular social media component comes in, or just the general, social nature of the Dragonfly, which is that 10% of people, 20%, maybe fewer, maybe more, at that point will be actually so convinced, you will have gotten them so on board that they want to do more. They don't just want to stop by buying or clicking or downloading. They actually want to become part of your effort. And so this last bit, called take action or enable action, is where you methodically redeploy the things you put into place in wings 1 through 3 and give them to your converted, to your audience, so that they can then redeploy them. And it's not just a matter of giving them an opportunity to like or share, but actually giving them an opportunity to co-create, to adapt things so that they work for them and they work for how they see the issue, because everyone views it their own way and frequently makes it better.